individual demand. So that is why all the factors have come. The factors you have studied under individual demand, like price of the commodity, price of related goods, income of the customer, taste and preference, future expectation, plus it also include size of the population, income distribution also. Okay, so this is the market demand function. It's a function of all these factors. Dx is equal to a function. So the new items here are n, that is population size, and yd is distribution of income. So population size, we have already seen the explanation for population size. That is the number of buyers increases, demand also increases. So if female population increases, demand for goods meant for women will go up. Then distribution of income. If the income is equitably distributed, there will be equally distributed, there will be less demand. In case of unequal distribution, most people will have enough money to buy things. That means if income, you just understand, if the people have enough disposable income with them, enough distribution of income with them, the demand for products increases. So types of demand, direct and indirect demand, we have not come to that portion. So let us come out of it. So you have seen what are the functions, demand function and market function. Okay, I'm stopping presenting now. So we'll come back. Coming back to the screen. So I hope you enjoyed the video and the PPT what I have shared. Now we will see what is demand schedule. What is demand schedule? So far you have seen the factors affecting individual demand and the factors affecting market demand and demand function and individual demand function and market demand function. So you must know how to write the equations, a function of all the factors. So now, what is demand schedule? Demand schedule means it's a table. Demand schedule is a table which shows the relationship between the price of a commodity and the demand of a commodity. So in a table, the price is given and the commodity demand is also given in a tabular form, that is known as demand schedule. Just for example, at ₹5, okay, let us start with ₹10. You just write ₹10. When a particular product is ₹10, two items are demanded. Two items. Then ₹9, three items are demanded. ₹6, five items are demanded. ₹3, 10 items are demanded. So this way, when we write the price and correspondingly how many items are being demanded in a particular table, that schedule of demand is known as demand schedule. So you might have observed the number of items and the price. So in that particular schedule, you might have seen that when the price was at the highest, the demand was less. The demand was less. As the price is coming down, the demand is becoming more. Okay. So at the highest price, people will demand less. And when the prices come down, the demand will be more. Okay, so that is when you represent it in a tabular form, in the one side the price and the other side the quantity demanded. Such a tabular form, that schedule is actually known as what? Demand schedule. And this demand schedule actually help us to make a demand curve. So now you have a data in front of you. So if you plot in the graph x-axis and y-axis, if you plot in the graph x-axis and y-axis and try to draw it in the graph, a curve you will get. That particular curve is known as demand curve. That we will study afterwards. Okay, and demand curve, demand curve will be sloping downward because at the highest price less item and the lowest price more item. So with the schedule what I have given, if you just try to plot it, you will understand it is sloping downward. You will get a line which will slope downward. That means more items are demanded at the low price and less items are demanded at the high price. So individual demand schedule is nothing but where it shows the price of a particular commodity and the item demanded of that commodity. Individual demand schedule is that. Then what is market demand? What is market demand? Market demand is what is market demand? Is the total of individual demand. Total of individual demand. So market schedule table, you will be given the demand of customer A, that is buyer A, buyer B, buyer C, and all. So there will be a lot of buyers demand pattern will be given. You just have to add it. Then you will get, when you add it, you will get what? The market demand, because it's a summation of individual demand. Okay. So market demand and individual demand. I was just checking your attendance. Okay. So today we have discussed things like factors, demand function. Demand functions means individual demand function and market demand function we have discussed. Then we have discussed factors affecting individual demand. We also have discussed factors affecting market demand, demand function, equation for demand function, equation for market function, and individual demand schedule and market demand schedule. Okay, these are the things we have discussed today. So, Anuj Singhal.
Yes, ma'am.
Anuj, okay, good. Can you say what is complementary goods and an example for that?
Ma'am, I joined this class a little bit later.
That's why I asked. I was checking the attendance. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
join in time. Complementary goods, but I have taught you yesterday. Pushak, what is complementary goods? Pushak, what is complementary goods? Complementary goods are those goods which can be used, which can be the use can be substituted. In place of another, you can use it. Such kind of goods is known as complementary goods. And in the video also you have seen Pepsi and Coke. So if the Pepsi is getting what? Increase in the price, if there is increase in the price of Pepsi, what you will use? You may use Coke if it is relatively cheaper. So that is the relation between the demand of complementary goods. Okay, so if the goods can be substituted, you will go for that substitute which is cheaper. So tea and coffee, you will go for that substitute which is cheaper. That is complementary goods. And substitute goods also, substitute goods. I was talking about substitute goods. What is substitute goods? Tea and coffee. Did I say complementary goods? Extremely sorry. What is complementary goods? Complementary goods are those goods which are used together, like bread and butter, just used together. If the price of bread is more in the market, there may be a decrease in the demand of butter also, isn't it? So the more you use the butter, the more you will demand, the more you use the bread, you will demand more butter also. So the things which use together, that is car and petrol, bread and butter, that is known as complementary goods. Substitute goods are those goods which can be used, which can be substituted. In place of one another, you can substitute it. And instead of coffee, you can have a tea also. Such kind of goods are called as substitute goods. So that you have seen yesterday, that's an important topic. That's why I have repeated it. And now, once again, you have seen today what is the factors affecting individual demand, factors affecting market demand function, that is individual demand function and market demand function. Then also you have seen, what else you have seen? Demand schedule. In the demand schedule, you have seen individual demand schedule and market demand.
Market demand.
So individual, actually I was searching for, I I had a form individual demand schedule and market demand schedule. I was searching for that. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it in the tab. That's why, I mean, if I search it again, I will be thrown out of the meeting. That's why I have stopped searching it. Okay. So tomorrow we will see the next portion that I have already shown. I have already told you the demand schedule. For what purpose we make the demand schedule? For making the demand curve.
Oh,
For making the demand curve, first we have the table. Then on the basis of that table, we will plot it in a graph. Okay, in the x-axis you may note the prices, and the y-axis the demand. So likewise, you will get a line, that is a curve. You say that curve have to be plotted. That curve is known as demand curve. Demand curve we will study tomorrow. Okay, so we can have the Shanti part.